the Western Electrical Contractors Association. I am the workforce development supervisor, so I'm in charge of apprenticeship recruiting and really just sharing information about an apprenticeship program that we have for people to become electricians. So that's who I am and what I do. If you were listening earlier, I'm up in Sacramento. We have schools in San Diego, Riverside, Sacramento, and then Fresno, and we just expanded into Arizona. So we have over 900 apprentices in our program. We also offer an electrician trainee program, which is another pathway to becoming a certified journey person. And we have about 4,000 electrician trainees. I'm going to primarily focus on opportunities in apprenticeship today when I talk to you, because that is, in my opinion, the best pathway. It is where your education is actually paid for by your contractor that you're working for. They also pay into a fund that funds your health and welfare, so your benefits. They pay into a fund that funds that training. And then eventually they're going to start paying into a fund for a retirement plan for you, all while you're in the program learning how to become an electrician. So I think it's a great pathway. You get paid the entire time you're in the program. There are structured raises that you get while you're in the program. So as you complete more hours working in the field and you complete your related supplemental instruction, you move through a structured pay scale, but depending upon where you're working the project determination. So it can be a great way to have a great career in the trades. So that's kind of what I'm going to share with you today. I have a PowerPoint that I'm going to buzz through and share. Oops, my watch just talked to me. My apologies. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with just my PowerPoint. So it'll cover some of the main points of our program, and then I can answer any questions that you might have about how you become an apprentice. The application requirements, I think, are covered in this PowerPoint. So I'm just going to share real briefly with you here this quick, I think it's a 16 slide PowerPoint. And hopefully you see that. So like I said, I work for Western Electrical Contractors Association. We are a merit shop advocacy and industry training program. So our contractors are not part of a union. We are a non-union membership association, but we follow the same type of pathway that you would have if you were to decide to become a union apprentice. So we can talk a little bit about that. All right. So if you have ever thought about a career in the trades, maybe the traditional college path is not for you. You can learn more about what it takes to pursue an electrical or low voltage career and choose the right education program that can lead to a very rewarding and satisfying career. If you enjoy working with your hands, working with tools, and can figure out how things work, if those are questions that you answered with a yes, you really might want to consider a career in a trade. And of course, I'm going to talk about the electrical trade, but there are lots of different trades out there that you could think about. A career as an electrician or low voltage technician is a respected and needed profession in our modern and increasingly electrified world. We need a new generation of skilled women and men to fill positions as the previous generations are starting to retire. There is a huge demand for electricians and certified journey people. And like this slide talks about, as we continue to kind of electrify our world, even if we are getting power through different sources such as wind turbine or solar, we still need to be able to connect those to our homes and businesses, our hospitals and our schools to be able to use them. Whoops. All right. Did you know California's Electrician Certification Law requires that anyone performing work in a field for all C10 electrical contractors have to fall into one of three categories. So you either need to be a certified journey person, an indentured apprentice, or an electrician trainee, and be registered with the state and attending those classes that are approved through the state of California. That we have at WECA. An apprenticeship is the beginning of your career path and the start of a very rewarding career. You earn a paycheck while you are learning your trade. So you're actually making money right away, learning your trade, gaining on-the-job experience, and then attending school twice a year for 2 weeks per semester. WECA apprenticeship programs. Apprenticeship is a system of learning in the classroom and receiving on-the-job training while earning a paycheck. In the context of the WECA program, a person who, through signing a WECA apprenticeship agreement with WECA, will learn the electrical trade through a combination of work and study for a specified period of time. We offer 3 apprenticeship programs. We offer commercial, residential, and low voltage. The commercial program is a 5-year commitment. The low voltage program is a 3-year commitment. And the residential program is also a 3-year commitment. Your classroom instruction is 2 consecutive weeks every 4 to 7 months, with each 2-week session equal to 1 semester. You earn a paycheck while you learn under the supervision of a journey person electrician. So this is an example of a quick photo of what you might be doing as you're working with your certified journey person. I just mentioned this, but I'll reiterate it one more time. So our apprenticeship programs, the commercial program is a 5-year program. You have to have 8,000 on-the-job training hours to graduate from the program. And when you're done, you're going to take your general electrician certification with the state of California. And upon passing that, you're going to become a certified journey person. The residential program is a 3-year program, which requires 4,800 on-the-job hours, and you would become a residential electrician certification. The sound and communication or voice data video is a 3-year program, would be 4,800 on the job hours. And then you would have a voice data video or fire life safety technician certification. So those are the 3 different programs with the 3 different amount of hours and the years it would take to get through the program. As a reminder, all of you are probably saying that's a really long time to commit to something. You are getting paid the entire time you're in the program. So you're not only learning your trade so that you can become a certified journey person, but you are getting paid while you're learning. There are structured pay raises. So as an example, when you complete your first year or 1,600 hours and your first year of instruction, you're going to bump up the pay scale to the next level of pay. Those increases, depending upon where you're working, are anywhere from $3 to $7 more per hour. And then you're going to continue that progression through the duration of your apprenticeship program. As you move through each semester and each year, you're going to continue to get raises while you're working. So you do have to be at least 18 years of age and have your high school or college diploma, GED or equivalent to provide with proof of your application. So those are provided upon applying. Once you apply, you are placed on our applicant list and you're invited in for a testing session based on that date of your application. The testing requirements are a color identification test. You also have to take a basic skills assessment, which includes measurement, reading, comprehension, and arithmetic. And then if you pass those, you take what's called the multi-craft aptitude test. This last test that I just talked about, the multi-craft aptitude test, is really a test to see if you have the ability to solve problems that are mechanical or electrical in nature. There is an oral interview that you do have to pass. It is 12 structured questions that are asked of every single person, the same questions, and it is scored. There is a drug screen, and there is a mandatory orientation session. So those are the apprentice requirements. The only things you do need to apply are your high school diploma, college diploma, GED or equivalent, and you do need to be at least 18 years of age. Do that every time. We also offer an electrician trainee program. So if you've decided that your pathway might not be the apprenticeship pathway, anyone can sign up. You don't have to be 18 to start taking electrical trainee classes. We are a state-approved electrician trainee program, and it is available to students throughout all of California. All classes are taught exclusively by experienced electrical industry professionals, and the electrician trainee must be registered with the state and enrolled in the state-approved curriculum of classroom study. So the electrician trainee program is where you take courses 2 nights a week. They're about an hour and a half to 2 hours. You log in, they are held live with an instructor. And then you have a hands-on lab session once per class session. This is a 4-year pathway to become an electrician, a certified electrician. And you can continue that on. This is a pay-as-you-go program. So you do have to pay for these classes. You do have to be enrolled in the program and get that electrician trainee card from the state of California. Once you receive that card, you can go to work in the field to start earning some of your on-the-job experience. Either pathway is going to require on-the-job experience in order to take that certification exam. Oh, I think I already just covered this. An electrician trainee is an electrician who is enrolled in an approved electrical trainee education provider and who is also registered with the state as an electrician trainee. Electrician trainees are not apprentices. They follow a similar educational pathway to becoming a journey person electrician, but are not considered an apprentice. WECA's electrician education programs are affordable. For an example, tuition at WECA's apprenticeship programs, they are paid for by the apprentice's employer. WECA's electrician trainee tuition is approximately $1,500 per year, which would be comparable to tuition and fees at a California community college. That would also compare to $5,400 or $13,000 for in-state university tuition or $30,000 annual tuition at a private college. This is a comparison chart. If you can see this on my left, I think it's your left, is how much it would cost to be in the apprenticeship program. And then on the right side is the electrician trainee certification program. It talks about the cost, which is $0 as an apprentice, and then the class variations, $219 to $399. Years to complete, 5 versus 4. Learning modes. So the learning mode on the apprenticeship program is you actually attend class in person. So you come to our sites and it is daytime and is 2 weeks per semester. So you're going to knock that out in 2 weeks straight. The learning modes for the electrician training program is online instructor 2 nights a week and 1 lab per course. The benefits, an indentured apprentice works with a WECA member contractor. You get paid to learn, structured acquisition of your on-the-job training hours. You have a medical, dental, pension plan, and life insurance. And it fulfills the educational requirements to qualify for taking that state certification exam. The benefits of being an electrician trainee are the freedom to choose for whom and where you work. This is convenient, nights and weekends. And I also mentioned you can do this if you are under 18. So if you're interested and you already know you want to become an electrician, you can get enrolled and get started. You move through the program at your pace that works for your life, and it fulfills that same requirement for the state certification exam. The quality of education, they're certified instructors through state-approved programs with quality curriculum and innovative training. Getting started on the apprenticeship side, I've mentioned this a couple times. Really, the only thing you have to do is apply with your high school diploma, GED, or equivalent certificate and proof of your age, because you do have to be 18. And then you get invited into test and interview, typically around 3 to 9 months. For the electrician trainee program, there are no entrance requirements. You become a state registered electrician trainee through WECA, and you can start your first course. So that's a comparison of the 2 programs that we offer to become a certified electrician. All right, I think that is my last slide from that PowerPoint presentation. So I know I have a few of you on. Is there anyone who has any questions, or Mr. Stutterback, did you think of any questions you would like me to clarify so far?
Well, one thing which is one of the key takeaways from this today is while we're talking about an electrical apprenticeship program to become an electrician, which is one of the primary programs besides plumbing and heating and air conditioning and things like that, there's actually, like, I don't know, I think almost 100 plus different apprenticeship programs here in the state of California. I think one of the sort of myths is that every occupation out there requires you to go to college. Well, I guess we've been using that term more generally is that, yes, most occupations that pay you something that's a career type of thing are going to require training after high school. I mean, that's the bottom line. High school is just going to be the foundations, right? And once you get out of high school, then's when you really are going to be concentrating on an area of study. Now, there's a lot of jobs and occupations out there that don't require you to go to college because they have a different program. And for this is an example, is for electricians. You don't go up to Palomar College or Miracosta College or UCSD to become an electrician, right? You'll go to a counselor and they'll go, well, we don't have that here. We don't have a degree to become an electrician. You can become an engineer, electrical engineer, if you want to do that, and you really love math. That's one thing you could do. But you're not going to find those programs at those schools. Now, if you are in an apprentice program, the difference is college is a cost, right? Even the public colleges have a cost associated with them. The difference in an apprentice program is you're earning wages while you're learning in real time, right? So there's no debt. So that's a big bonus. The other thing for this is once you have a trade or you have a certificate from the state to be an electrical contractor or to be in construction or in any of the other careers, and there's a lot of high-tech ones now that are going through apprenticeship. Once you do that, whether you're union or non-unionized, a lot of people will start their own business. So for example, a career path as an electrician is you might start out as an apprentice and you might become a journey person, which takes 5 years usually. You can either become a master electrician, which is another set of tests, an electrical contractor, and many of those guys will go off and start their own business, right? So a lot of people are like, well, if you want to make more money, I got to go to college, right? And it's like, that's not necessarily the case. Most like, if you were to tell us after your 5 years of being an apprentice, what's an average electrical contractor make here in the state of California?
In the state of the national average is $75,000 a year as a certified journey person. And there's such a high demand for certified electricians right now that there's often a signing bonus attached to that. So I know if you were just to do a Google search or a LinkedIn search, many of our contractors and other contractors are offering a few $1,000s to sign on with them. And if you have additional certification, there's more money that can go into that. But the national average is about $74,000 a year.
Right. So in about the same time that you would take to get a 4-year degree, you get an equivalent education in the field, and you're earning as much, if not more, than most college graduate students. Right. There are some majors like chemical engineering and computer science where you can make probably that much kind of money or more coming out. But generally, for a lot of these type of occupations, especially of the technical nature, you can be earning some really good money at a very young age, right? And then have a lot of options available to you, including starting your own business down the road. So in some ways, you'll be getting a leap start. So I want to make sure you understand that, besides this event covering lots of different careers out there, you understand the difference that, college is an option if your career aligns with that. If you want to do something that's more hands-on, that's more learning as you do, then apprenticeship programs might be, for you. And so we don't talk about those enough as counselors. So that's one of the reasons I'm having a lot of those programs over today. And if you're in 9th or 11th grade, you'll find out we're going to have another event next year about this. Because again, this is overlooked. The problem we're seeing right now is that there are so many people retiring and there isn't anybody to take their place, right? You know, again, you may not even consider this so far, but after you look into it, you might go, hey, that sounds like that might be a cool thing to do. Well, there's such a high demand right now. And that's because we don't talk about these kind of jobs and these kind of training programs as much as we should in high school. So a lot of you guys will go through high school and you think that college is the only thing. Well, we have these apprenticeship programs out there. And so we wanted you to know about that. And this, of course, is an excellent program. And there's tons of different programs. It's a little bit different than college in that you need to apply for this. But the tests are not that bad. I've actually sat down and looked at some of them. And the other thing is they're you know, now with WECA, do you guys actually hook them up with a company, or do they need to find a company on their own?
So we have both. We take both general applicants, and then we also have applicants that might be sponsored. So how it works is once you've passed all your application requirements, you go onto our dispatch list, and we have a dispatch that's opened by a contractor in the areas that you can work. So it would be within 80 miles of your home. Then we connect you with that contractor, and then you would essentially become their apprentice. And that's how that works. And just to tap onto your, like, there is what's called a silver surge right now, a silver stream, something like that, with all the retiring that's happening, huge demand. And also, Mr. Sutterback said that, you know, you could own your own company, you can move on. We have actually 4 current apprentices, or I shouldn't say that. We have 4 contractors that are part of our membership association that took the apprenticeship pathway, went to work for a large company for a few years, and then did just that, started their own company, and they now are sponsoring apprentices in the program. You can also become project managers. You can work in HR departments. There's so many different caveats that you can take once you get into the program. If you decide that the field work, you do that for a few years, and you decide you want to move up and do different things within your company. And I'm sure you've heard this from lots of the adults in your life, but it's also going to be what you make it. So if you become an apprentice and you decide this is really what you want to do, and you specialize yourself and learn everything that you can. I had an experience recently where I was talking to a journey person, and he was coming back into the apprenticeship program because he did his certification through the Electrician Trainee program, and he needed to have his certification through an apprenticeship program to fulfill a requirement that's called the skilled and trained workforce. And he was telling me about his career path as a low voltage technician. He was young when he started, and he learned everything he could, and he latched on to a very special part of what the low voltage technicians do, and became very well known for that, and got to travel the world. He literally lived in Japan for 3 years, Hawaii for a couple of years. He had been to Taiwan, South Korea, Germany. He had never been to college, never completed a college courses, but became a certified technician with a very specialized field, and was able to do anything he wanted to really while he was out there. And now he had come back to Sacramento, of all places. So came back to Sacramento and was working on he was an accelerated apprentice with us, so that he could continue on and do some other parts of the electrical certification. So I think it's a really interesting story. So, and it's kind of what you make it. So he decided at a very young age he wanted to travel, and he found a way to have someone pay for his education and get paid, and then also pay for him to travel. So it's a really cool story. There's lots of different things you can do with it.
Yeah, and that's the story I've heard from a lot of people that I've spoken to, which is, you know, whether it's electrical or plumbing or anything else like that. These are skills that are needed worldwide. So if you did want to take your skills somewhere else, you know, you have that experience to take with you. So it's not specific necessarily. Now, like the U.S. electrical system is slightly different than some other ones, only at the amperage and voltage. But all the concepts are the same. The same thing goes with any of the other trades out there. They're more like a universal skill set you can take with you. So I've known people who have gone and gotten jobs globally, right? Because they want to live somewhere else, but they have that skill and trade to take with them, which was of great value. The other flip side of this too is that typically these are not jobs that are subject to outsourcing. Robots aren't going to do them anytime soon, right? So you can make a career out of this, right? And you can have, you know, knowledge that if I go into one of these apprentice programs, the kind of skills I'm learning, they're not going to go away tomorrow. They do adapt. I mean, we get new tools, right? And new ways of doing things, like now, you know, installing solar and all of that on the residential side is a big business. Where, you know, 10 years ago, not so much, right? You know, now wind turbines are a huge area where they weren't 10 years ago either. So there's a lot of new stuff that comes up, but those basic skills are still there. So, and one thing to take away today is you might be sitting there going, yeah, well, I'm not really interested in this kind of stuff. But, you know, you might know somebody else who is, and you may be able to talk to them about it. You know, it might even be your parents who are looking to change careers right now, and maybe they're in a different industry, and you can say, hey, but there are apprenticeship programs out there you can get into. I just heard about it in school today, right? So you may be able to take this with you. And we will have some more speakers with some more apprentice programs, but enough for me. What other kind of questions do you have? And I know you have worksheets, so don't, you know, I know. So give us some questions out here. 10 o'clock in the morning, your brains are operating. Mine's operating. Ms. Campbell, you have a question?
I always have a question. My question is, what are some of the day-to-day duties of a journeyman or of an electrician? Like what are some of the type of jobs that they might go out to?
It can really vary, but there's lots of, so at the beginning of your apprenticeship, you're going to do lots of the same task often. So you might be, you're going to be preparing a lot of sites for electrical. So there's going to be some digging, there's going to be some bending of conduit, there's lots of wire pulling, a lot of it in the first few years. And then as you gain your skills, you're going to do other things like connecting the lighting systems, connecting the electrical to the building. And as you continue to build, you'll build motor boards, you'll learn the difference between wood electrician, you know, home electrical versus industrial electrical. So there's lots of those. We do work on hospitals, schools. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Large buildings, universities, all kinds of nursing homes, and any type of building that you see. You're gonna, if there's any type of new construction, there's always at least one electrical contractor there. I will drive by an apartment complex on, you know, one of the major freeway corridors here and see 4 or 5 different electrical contractor signs up, because there's all different types of work that's happening on all those projects. There are different types of projects for apprentices. So you would be assigned to either private work or prevailing wage or public work or federal work. So depending upon what type of project you're on will depend upon what type of work you're doing, and also what your pay will be, because there are different pay determinations based on where and what type of job you're placed on. Trying to think of what else. So those are some of the major projects we have. Lots of university and school work, lots of hospital work, lots of big residential expansions, low-income housing projects, apartment complexes. Trying to think of some of the biggest ones that I've seen out there. Solar, we talked about solar farms. There's lots of solar farm work that our companies are working on. Manufacturing plants, installing new technologically advanced manufacturing equipment. That's a big one. Everything's kind of updating as we get more connected and get faster at how we do things. Everyone's updating their own equipment in their own facilities to be more self-sufficient. I want to say non-people sufficient. So Mr. Soderback, you talked a little bit about robots and how they're taking over some things. So electricians are installing some of that equipment in some of those big manufacturing facilities. So it's lots of different types of work. We have a low voltage program. If you're interested in fiber optic cabling, if you work like small wiring is for you, if you're interested in how technology continues to advance, the low voltage program might be your pathway. And that is your fire life safety systems, your sound audio systems. That is its own certification, its own specialization. So it's another opportunity for you to kind of really, if you're someone who likes to mess around with your car stereo, or, oh, do we still have those? I don't know if we still have those, that likes to mess around with the wiring in cars, or you're the person that at home, your parent or someone is always saying, hey, can you help me figure out how to connect this, whatever you've gotten in? If you're that person, the low voltage program might be something that you're interested in as well.
Yeah, and there's lots of specializations there too. I'll give you an example. When I was in right out of high school, I worked for a security and fire company, and one of our guys, that's all he did was design, contract, and install fire alarm systems for commercial businesses. And there was a lot of electrical involved with that, right? So he was essentially a journeyman and installing those, and there's a lot that goes into those. You wouldn't believe how much stuff goes into it. There's a lot of specialization, and it's not going to get any less. There's just more work. So there's more electrical everything. So there's more work out there. So that's always the good news part of it. And one thing to say too is that in the past, if we roll back 40, 50 years, they're like, well, this is an occupation for guys. Right? That's not the case anymore. There are a lot of women in all of these different trades. They want them there. And if you've never thought about it before, you should think about it, because they earn really good money, right? There's a lot of job stability, a lot of demand out there, right? And it's not something where it's just only guys get into this kind of stuff, right? That's not the case at all. Right. And don't think that way, because there's some of the electrical contractors I know are female, and there's some of the better ones who are out there. So, don't think for a moment that this isn't something you could get into, because you definitely can.
I'm gonna, if it's okay, I'm just gonna share our website really quick as a share, and then I'll put it in the chat for anybody who wants to see it. But this is what our website looks like. This is the apprenticeship tab on our website. You can navigate here. It tells you about our 3 apprenticeship programs. We just recently expanded into Arizona. The application requirements are here. Oh, and if you didn't know, I didn't mention this, but you also can get college credit for the courses that you take at WECA. So we are accredited that way. That's a video of someone doing some hands-on at school, learning how to use the lifts. It is a great choice if right out of high school, but you might go to junior college for a couple of years. Sometimes they will offer electrical classes that you can take, and if it sparks your interest, you can enter at any time. There's no age. The only thing you have to be is 18 to apply. There's information here on our website on how to apply. There's a video that you could watch. It doesn't share real well over Zoom. It tends to really slow things down, so I won't share that. But this has some great information. Here is the application requirements. Like I said, you do have to be 18 and have your high school diploma or GED, and have to submit that with your application. And then these are the testing requirements. So once you're invited in for testing, these are the tests you're going to take. And then we also have some resources for you. So there's some suggested study materials. This is a great site right here, Zeddy, for anyone who's interviewing for any type of job. I just will tell you, it's a great tool for you. And then you can apply right here by simply just clicking on here and attaching and completing the instructions. So that's all available on our website. There's other information as well. So I spoke briefly about the Electrician Trainee Program. Information about that is also available for you. This is how you would enroll. That's a residential, that's actually a residential, I think that's a Get Wired class that they were taking. That's she's learned how to cut conduit. So kind of some great information. I just wanted to share that site with you. And then I'll put that in the chat as well, as if anybody wants to reference that.
Sounds good.
Any other questions you can think of? We've talked about how much you can make when you're a journey person. We didn't cover how much you would make starting off. So entry-level work is entry-level work. So you're going to be making more than minimum, but probably anywhere, depending upon where you're assigned, between $15 to $17 an hour for that first year. Those raises are, like I said, they are based on your hours and education. So you're not going to get a 25-cent raise based on, that yearly review. That once you get through that 1,600 hours in that first year of education, the increase in your wages is anywhere from $3 to $7. And then you get other information as well, or other raises to other parts of the pay scale as well. And that's kind of a difficult subject to talk about, just because it can vary depending upon the project that you're placed on. So.
Yeah, the bottom line is, if you're part of an apprentice program and you're an apprentice and you're not going to make, industry wage right out of the chute, because you don't know enough yet. But you're making better money than all the other students who are coming out of high school who don't have a degree or a certificate in anything yet, right? If you compare being an apprentice, what you can take home while you're learning, versus a retail job or a food service job or anything like that, there's a big difference, right? You're up here while you're still staying at home with mom and dad, right? Most of the jobs you're gonna get out of high school right off, you're not gonna be moving out right away unless you have like a ton of roommates, and that gets tougher every year because housing costs a lot, right? You wanna aim so that you're making enough money to be able to survive on your own, right? And the kind of jobs you get with just a high school education, that's going to be a tough slog for a while, right? Until you become a manager or something like that. But that's why we always emphasize so much about education. Well, apprenticeship programs are education as well, right? And you can start earning money right out of high school, day one after getting in. Now, the question I have for you is, some people are like, oh, they're going to give me a test. Well, how bad is the math on the test? Are we talking algebra? Are we talking trig? What are we talking?
No trig, basic level algebra. So whatever you would need to graduate from high school is about where you need to maintain that skill level. It's not going to I don't even think we touch algebra 2 for the testing requirements.
Yeah, so I think it would probably be the equivalent, and Ms. Campbell, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, it should be maybe integrated 1. Would that be the level? Yeah. Back in the old days, we just had basic algebra 1, and that way, and a lot of the students are like, oh man, why do I have to take algebra 1? And why is that a graduation requirement? And it's because every program out there, especially on this side, on the trades education, everybody needed that basic level of knowledge, right? You needed to know some basics of algebra or you can't do your job. So there's a reason we put those requirements in your graduation requirements. It wasn't because we were torturing you or you needed the mental exercise. It's because you actually needed those skills.
You need those skills.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's not communicated to students enough, is a lot of the basic requirements are the foundations to which they build upon. And if you don't have those foundations, you can't build your career house there, if you will.
For any type of career, for sure. And reading comprehension is also very, very important. Being able to read that paragraph and answer those questions. I watch people test all day long. That is also a very important skill.
Yeah, and if I ask a skill about an electrician, besides all the hard knowledge you're going to need out there, you're going to need some soft skills. And one of the big ones I keep hearing about is communication, right? So your communication skills are paramount to being able to work on the job. So being able to talk to not only your managers, but customers, right? And be able to learn from all of them is key as well. Any other questions today before we go? We're starting to run out of time here already, unfortunately. Still have a few minutes left. So besides me staring at you guys, any other questions? Going once. Going twice. You can put them in the chat. you're afraid to come off the mic. All right, Ms. Campbell, I think they've answered everything on their sheet. I hope.
I hope so too.
I do, because we're here. We are available.
No other questions, you guys? Okay, well.
All right. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks everybody for coming today. I do appreciate it. The whole idea behind the career thing is for exposure and for them to learn a bit more about careers and different pathways. I thought this was a very important one to emphasize, especially for apprenticeships. So I want to make sure, Ms. Campbell, that the students are walking away with understanding what is an apprenticeship, and to give you an example of that.
So,
Yeah.
Can you repeat how you join again, just one more time?
I'm sorry, what?
How you join the apprenticeship?
Yeah, all you have to do is apply. So
Okay.
you just have to go to that. I put the website there, and you have to be 18 and have graduated from high school or have your high school GED equivalent to apply for the program. And that's all you have to do.
All right. Thank you very much. That's all I have for that question.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, William. I appreciate it. All right, guys, that's going to be it from us. I have recorded this. I'll post it internally on the College and Career site later on this month. So in case you want to go back and check it out again.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming today, and hopefully we can have you back again.
Absolutely. Thank you both. Have a great rest of your day.
All right.
Thanks
Take
again for
care.
being here.
Bye-bye now.